The workload you've got is probably like 2 hours a day, and then the other 6 you're probably squirting around.
I think we often confuse being busy with being productive. You know, even I fall into the trap of like, oh, I'll just do this and I'll just do that. And like, I just want to let you know, guys, if you're an entrepreneur, there's always going to be stuff to do. There's always going to be more you can do. That doesn't mean that you need to do it today.
I think you can be successful in business on a short amount of time with a high skill level. Welcome to the Success School podcast. Today we're on episode 54 and we're going to be talking about the unfiltered truth behind 5.5 weeks in the caravan and running a business. Steph, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I love this episode because, look, I feel like the last few episodes we have spoken a bit about the caravan. It was obviously an incredibly life-changing trip for us. I would say, Tim and I both said, probably the best trip of our lives so far, which is a big call. Now, at the time this episode airs, we're probably going to be in Europe, so hopefully having another incredible trip. We had a Fiji in August, hopefully another incredible trip, but I don't think anything will be as...
Brag City?
It's not bragging, it's inspiring for the right people.
Inspiring.
But it's been really life-changing for us. I think we learned a lot about ourselves, we learned a lot about each other, we learned a lot about what we want from life, and so it's been a really cool trip, but it hasn't been without its moments. So we thought we would share with you the realness, right? Because we want to keep it real with you guys and you know, what it really looks like to run a business and some of the shit that fell apart and the good and the bad and the ugly.
100%. All right, we'll get into a personal update. So a client of ours, Nikki, messaged me and she said, "You're such a cardio bunny." Now, Tim.
Nikki, that's not how you sound, but...
Yeah, that's how you sound. Own it, rep it, let's go. And I was like, am I? Well, we were on this caravan trip and obviously there's no gyms anywhere in Western Australia outside of Perth pretty much. So I was basically doing push-ups for a bit and I was like, this fucking sucks. Like just doing push-ups every day. So we started running. I became a cardio bunny and our goal was to do 10K around Lake Argyle. We hadn't been to Lake Argyle before, and if you haven't been there, it's basically hill city. And when I say hills, I mean like serious hills, like 100-meter, like vertical type thing. Not a mountain, but like a hill. So we decided not to, and then when we got to Broome, we did a 10K run. Yes, Steph beat me by 3 minutes. Not my finest moment, but I got it done. And the way I got it done is I kept saying to myself, don't be a little bitch, stop. Don't be a little bitch and stop. Don't be a little bitch and stop. And it just kept me going for the whole 10Ks, which is great. And it's kind of a little bit, you know, this might be shocking to Steph, but it's kind of a little bit how I run business as well. I'm like, do the task, stop being soft. Do the task, stop being soft. And it is honestly one of the keys to my success is that I just get stuff done no matter how I'm feeling. And I just treated running the exact same way. So if you're someone that's struggling to get momentum in business, maybe it's because you're a little bit too easy on yourself. Could I be right?
You could be right, definitely. I think we naturally go really... I think there's a fine line. I think you would agree. I think some people are unnecessarily hard on themselves and that actually spirals them into shame, doubt, and, you know, it's not doing the things they need to do because they're in a shame cycle. So I think it's not about shaming yourself. I think it's about whatever it takes to motivate you. So I use two forms of motivation when I run. I have the one that's like Tim. It's like, come on, like, don't be lazy. Like, you got this. Like, you're not a, you know, little bitch or whatever. But I have the other version of that sometimes. I'm like, yeah.
Say it properly.
But sometimes when I'm running, I flip between both of these when I was doing my 10K run. And I was like, God, you're doing such a good job. Great job, Steph. You're doing really well. So I think like, yeah, girl, get it. So I think that both work. And I think that, you know, for me personally, I think it's about really understanding what motivates you. You know, are you more the kind of person that's like, you know, berates yourself? And I think you need to check in, does that actually help you? And in most cases for Tim, it does, is to say like, it's not good enough and do better. And that motivates him. Sometimes it's not good enough and do better motivates me. And sometimes, as Tim will know, when he tells me that I need to do better, it doesn't motivate me sometimes.
I never say that.
You do. And we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that on today's episode.
Are we?
Yeah.
Oh, you've already planned this out.
Oh, well, I mean, were we not talking about the good, the bad, the ugly of the trip?
Oh, shit. I'm going to get a police on my door soon.
You are not going to get police on your door. He inspires me to be better every day, and that's one of the reasons why I married you.
All right. Personal update.
My personal update. I wouldn't say that I'm a particularly patient person. I think I can...
Oh, no.
I want to break patience down into a few different areas. So I'm pretty patient when it comes to like waiting for something. So if like we have a trip coming up, I can be patient for that. You know, if I'm waiting for something in the mail, like my online shopping, I can be patient for that.
I can't believe you just used a holiday. We booked it a week ago and we're going next week. You have to wait 2 weeks for a European holiday. That's so patient.
I am so patient.
I don't know how you do it.
Guys,
it's crazy.
So patient. No, but all of our other holidays we have had, the last few have been 6-12 months even of waiting. Anyway, so I can be long-term patient for things that I know might take a while. But when it comes to short-term patience, so that's the kind of patience where, you just washed all the bed sheets in your Caravan because your dog vomited all over them. And then literally the next day, within 12 hours, your other dog comes in and pisses all over the same sheets. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but washing your stuff in a Caravan is very hard. Like, it is not simple. It's not just like, oh, we're going to throw it in the washing machine. Like, it's one doona, like, per wash. Like, nothing else can go in. You have to hang it out, like, on some, like, homemade washing line that drags on the floor. Like, it's just, like, it's not easy, okay?
The washing machine's like the size of a phone.
Yeah, the washing machine fits, like, one thing in it at a time. And we have 2 doonas because I'm a firm believer this is a marriage saver, actually, guys. If you want marriage tips, here's one. We have 2 doonas that we use, or duvets, or whatever you call them, that we use. So Tim has his and I have mine. That way we're never stealing from each other. And so
you steal mine.
Yeah, I steal sometimes. So dogs the day before vomited all over the bed. The next day pissed all over the bed. And my patience and tolerance for that was at a really all-time low, and I snapped. And so my patience for these things over the course of this trip has massively grown, because those things just happen on a really regular basis when you're on the road. Like
10 times a day.
Things take a long time. We're like warming up our hot water in a saucepan some days, like for a coffee in the mornings. Like things just take a lot of time. And so this trip really helped me to manage and become super aware of my patience and my frustration when things aren't going exactly the way that I thought they would go. And it was a really cool reflection point for me over this trip to realize that I'm very quick to fire. I'm also very quick to simmer down, but to really work on like my patience. And I know going into motherhood, all the mums here are like, fuck, wait till you have kids, love. I know. And that's why I really want to work on it.
Maybe let's hit this episode, because we've got a lot of questions here. Maybe like 2 from each, and we'll kind of rapid fire these.
Okay.
Steph, what are 2 things you loved?
I loved getting into nature. Like I loved like the gorges and like getting into the water. I wish we could have gotten in the water more. I loved the heat. Oh my God. One of the best things I loved about this trip was that you watch everyone else's like world in Australia and they're freezing and we were just baking in the sun, getting a tan. Like it was so warm. It's like we have had 12 months of never ending summer. So it was awesome. I loved that. I loved that every single night we would sit in our bed with our dogs and it was just wholesome AF.
We didn't sit in our bed. We lied down.
Yeah.
Okay, by the way. It's only psychopaths sit in their bed. Like, who does that? Imagine just sitting up in your bed.
So yeah, there's some of the things I love. What about you?
Actually, probably a little bit deeper than you. I actually enjoyed the connection time with you and the dogs. It was really nice. I enjoyed like the ideas. So we could... Well, with massive drives and you couldn't really go very fast. So it was a lot of talking time and we got to discuss future plans, why, goals, mission, vision, what we want to do, people we love, people we hate, like that kind of stuff. We don't hate anyone.
We don't hate anyone, just to be really clear.
Just like what they do strongly. So that was kind of the main one for me. The second one, besides the connection with you and the dogs, is I kind of like the challenge of it. Like I really enjoyed the challenge. Like in the previous podcast episode, I felt like I became a man. Like all this time, I'm like, yes, I'm fit. Yes, I'm strong. Yes, I, can make money and provide for the family.
Yes, I'm amazing.
Yeah, yes, I'm amazing. But I kind of, I learned how to be handy and do the handy stuff, which was kind of one of my weaknesses prior to this. So, Caravan school coming soon, 4-wheel drive school as well. I now have a PhD in both, in actually doing it. Okay.
So we have startup school, we have success school, we have Caravan school, 4-wheel drive school, and tools with Tim.
We'll do a bundle bonus for all of them if you're interested as well.
What did you hate? What was like not good about the trip?
Shitting in the Caravan with you in there was like
that was a new level.
Probably like my most hated thing. So, if you're listening to this and you haven't got a Caravan yet and you're going to get one, get a toilet brush. We didn't get one. And then once we left Perth, we couldn't get one. So yeah, there's a cleanup situation that has to happen. Maybe TMI, but
definitely TMI,
something
but
to work
so
on.
Funny. So funny.
What did you hate?
No, but even on this topic, just like, look, I'm not going to make this whole episode about going to the toilet, but one thing that was hilarious was the only thing that really broke in our Caravan the whole time that we were gone was the bathroom door. And it broke really early. Like it broke within the first few days. And so you never fully closed, and so like I would be like on the bed, which was like literally, you know,
2 meters away,
2 meters from the toilet. The door was broken, and so it was. Look, other husbands and wives we've spoken to, you guys are all very liberal with this stuff. Some people we spoke to, they're like, oh, we always do this at home anyway. We weren't that couple, so this was very new for us. And
I still think girls don't poo.
Yeah, he's very adult like that. And so so that was really funny. What did I hate? I really didn't hate that much, to be honest.
I've got one more.
Okay, you go.
The dust.
Oh my God.
Man,
yeah.
I'm a clean freak and I fucking lost my shit.
Yeah.
Like on the Gib. I didn't understand how dirty and dusty it would get. And there was no chance to clean anything thoroughly or properly. So I'm actually such a clean freak. I was out there every day with my Dyson, cleaning my car, doing the windows, like Windexing shit, like cleaning the Caravan, like super thoroughly. And everyone else was kind of just let it go. It was not inside of me just to let it go.
Tim's OCD came out real hard.
Yeah.
I didn't think he had OCD. I would never have diagnosed with Tim with OCD. Like I would have been like, yeah, he likes his stuff neat and clean. That's cool. But on this trip, man, it was like a whole new level. Like we had so much to do. Like, and this is probably one of the things that I hated and loved about the trip was like, you have so much to do all the time. Oh. So like you drive 5 hours to go somewhere, which is
and
obviously
you get
a long
like
way.
10
then
meters.
And then you get
so slow.
And then you get there. And then you gotta, you know, get out of the car, you gotta like put the Caravan legs down, you gotta get the styling out, you gotta put the awning out, you gotta get the chairs out, you gotta put the floor thing down, get the dogs out of the car into the van, you gotta, you know,
walk them,
you gotta make sure they go to the toilet. Like the only time we walked the dogs was basically just to make them go to the toilet so they wouldn't go in the Caravan, which didn't always work as per my first story. And so, you know, we had this constant, and all you really wanted to do was just pull up, set up styling, smack open your laptop and do some work. But, you know, we needed lunch, which, you know, you can't just, we Uber Eats a bit at home. We can't just do that out there. So we have to cook everything. And everything took such a long time, which I love because it forces us to be super present. Like it's one of those processes where like, because you're so busy with your hands, like you don't really have time to overthink things or catastrophize or any of those things. So it was really beautiful for that reason, but it did mean that it felt like it was pretty go most of the time. And it really forced us to get our work done really quickly, which I loved about it. But I also hated that there was like no downtime. Like, it was pretty hectic.
It was intense. I kind of feel bored now. I'm like, what is this? And we have like a lot to do.
We have a lot to do, but we don't have as much to do in comparison to like the van life. So anyone who's had a van, you'll totally understand.
Cleaning out the poop thing sucked. Like that was, you know, like the holder.
Mm-hmm.
Steph, how was Starlink? We've talked about it a lot. Just want to tell us what it is, how it works, and then like, what are your thoughts? So
Starlink is Elon Musk internet. So what Starlink is it basically is a dish that you get given.
You don't eat it. It's not food.
Hold on. So
it's internet, guys. Okay, just Steph's trying to say that magic word starting with an I. It's internet.
So you get like a satellite dish. Basically, it's small, and you buy it from Elon Musk, from the Starlink company.
He doesn't deliver it.
He does come over and install it for you. And so what it does, it directly connects to satellite. So no NBN, no towers, no phone towers required. And so you can have internet the whole way around. The best thing about Starlink is we got internet everywhere we went. It literally worked everywhere, which was awesome. It did not work everywhere well. So like
it works, just not well.
And so, you know, all along, so I don't know if you guys know about WA, but actually driving up the coast of WA up to the north of WA, that whole area is pretty populated. So the satellites are, I guess, pretty common around there or circulate around there regularly. And so the whole way through that section, no problem at all. We could run Zoom calls. We could do all those things really easily. On the Gib, we were having drop out central. Like, thank you to our clients for being patient with us, but we're just regularly jumping in and out of our meetings, just like, which was frustrating for sure. Tim and I hold ourselves to pretty high standards, and it was very frustrating, but we did know, and our clients were so patient, and it wasn't really that big a deal. It felt like a big deal for us. No one cared. But yeah, so Starlink is good. It's just really fragile. If you have a tree that's nearby, it just won't work. And which is crazy.
No, like blocking, not nearby, like blocking the satellite. Yeah,
but mostly incredible. What
would you rate it out of 10?
I would give it... Am I allowed to use 7 or not?
No.
7's such a cop-out number. I give it an 8 out of 10 then.
Yeah. I was going to say 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Starlink was incredible. I think for the price, it's like $179 a month and it's like just
Which is expensive, to be fair, for internet. But
yeah, but it's not a like contract, so you can just stop and start whenever you want.
yeah,
with
so we
that.
just, like, we're home now. We obviously use our home internet, so we just turn Starlink off because we're not going to use it for the next few weeks. So it's epic. It's really cool.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, if you're going traveling around Australia or going into areas that are remote, it is an absolute no-brainer. It was so good.
Yeah. There was, one quick funny story on this. We stopped driving and we pulled up in like a really heavily wooded area, so you couldn't really see the stars. And then the stars, by stars, I mean...
The Starlink
satellites.
satellite, yeah.
And then obviously with that, your solar doesn't charge. So we had an off-grid Caravan, so there wasn't much battery. And then we didn't have Starlink and it didn't work. What made it even worse was we get into the Caravan and none of the electrics worked. So I was like, fuck. So I checked my phone, no reception either. So we're sitting there.
No internet, no power. We've got no reception, so we can't call anybody. Our electrics are fucked. We can't get on the internet to figure out how to fix our electrics. So what do we do?
We just had to fucking work it out. And it was just like lots of looking around, opening up stuff, finding. We looked fuse boxes. I was taking apart electrical components I probably shouldn't have been.
Shout out to Harmony. We did end up firing up the Jenny, getting Starlink working, and shout out to Harmony who really helped us talk us through the process. We appreciate you.
Talked us through that, and then we got that done. But yeah, it's quite a different world out there, especially without internet. You kind of take a lot of it for granted.
So off the back of that, how did business go? We're away for 6 weeks. You know, we weren't able to work that much. You know, we did do a couple of full days here, probably 3 full days out of the whole trip, and then we would just do it in an hour or two each day. Did business suffer, or did we grow, or give us all update?
Yeah, we grew. I think we both realized we fuck around a lot in Perth. When you're pushed to get stuff done as fast as possible and then you got to drive for 5 hours with no reception, you just get it done, to be honest. And like anyone listening to this, you could probably agree, like the workload you've got is probably like 2 hours a day. And then the other 6, you're probably squirting around. I think you can be successful in business on a short amount of time with a high skill level. Business grew for us because we just had our checklist and our to-do list and we just got it done. Okay. So we just did our minimum, recommended marketing activity, scale, sales, all those types of things, and business grew. It grew even more because we had time to chat and we had time to kind of talk about our plans, what's working, what's not, like hiring, those type of things, like next steps. And we got like really clear on the vision, which is the best part of going on a holiday is you just get out of your space and you just are able to think so much more clear. What do you think?
Yeah, I would sentiment the fact that, I think we often confuse being busy with being productive. And I think that sometimes in Perth, even I fall into the trap of like, I'll just do this and I'll just do that. And like, I just want to let you know, guys, if you're an entrepreneur, there's always going to be stuff to do. There's always going to be more you can do. That doesn't mean that you need to do it today. And so we were listening to an epic podcast and he was basically just talking about productivity and basically saying that like, you really only need to do 3 things a day, but they have to be needle movers. They have to be things that actually change the game for your business. And if you do anything else after that, amazing. But otherwise, close your bloody laptop and go, think and listen and live your life and have conversations and talk to people, because you're probably going to grow your business much faster by strategizing. Like Tim and I grew our business much faster this last month because we were strategic, because we talked about it and we thought it through rather than just mindlessly tapping away on our laptops, telling ourselves we're being productive. We actually got more done with less time. So I would say that, I think that we all get caught up in that trap of, and I used to listen to people talk about it on podcasts and in books, like you need to give yourself space and time to think. And it's really hard when you're used to working all the time to suddenly just sit on the couch and try and think, because you panic. Your body goes into like a panic state of, I need to be working, I have so much to do, and this feels counterintuitive and this feels counterproductive. And I understand that, but it really is the game changer, because if you don't take time to create the pathway forward, you're just constantly going to spend time responding to what's coming in. And usually what's coming in is not always, perfect, not always great. And we're just kind of putting our fires everywhere and we're not actually going, hey, hold on. Maybe, fire is good. Maybe we need to let some stuff burn. Maybe we need to actually let it regenerate and regrow. Maybe we actually need to take our foot off the gas for a second and just see the big picture. And maybe a heap of the shit needs to be deleted. Like if you're having fires in your business, it's a really good indication that something needs to change. And so, I think sometimes giving yourself some space to look at that is so powerful. It's been really powerful for us. What would you change next time?
Yeah, so the only one that we would change and we just did change is the car. So we have a Ram 1500, which is a V8 petrol. Because our rig was so heavy, like fully loaded water, wastewater, dogs, food, all that type of stuff, the petrol consumption was cracked. Like I'm talking like 34 liters 100 at its worst and then averaging like 29. So if you think about that from like a financial point of view, not that we're hurting, but you just don't want to like use more than you have to type thing.
Tim actually got completely obsessed with
Yeah, I got so obsessed with
watching the fuel economy.
consumption.
Yeah, he was really, really obsessed with it.
So yeah, we bought around 2,500. So we spent an extra 90K to save on petrol, which that's a lot of petrol when you think about it. I didn't even think about that until now. So we got a diesel which uses about half the amount of petrol.
Look, he's sitting, guys, I'm just going to flat out call this as it is. He's sitting here trying to justify the reasons why he bought around 2,500, as in to say it's got fuel economy and shit. He wanted it, and that's why he bought it. So just to be really clear. But he had these really cool arguments the whole way, for and against, but mostly for. And as we were driving, he kept dropping these little seeds like, hey, I think we need a 2,500 because, and they have a bull bar, so I think we should get it. And I think, because of this, I think we should get it. And then eventually one day he was like, I'm going to buy one. And I was like, just whatever, babe. Just, I can see that you've been grooming me for this decision for 3 weeks. So if you want a Ram 2,500, we're obviously going to sell our current one and upgrade, but that's going to allow us to tow a lot better next time. And so it's going to be great.
We're going to tow better. Steph, what would you change next time?
Look, transparently and really honestly, I would say that I probably wouldn't go into our first round of re-signs with our clients, a price increase, getting new contractors onboarded, changing our, finance plans. I probably wouldn't have done all of those things at once while also on a trip with no reception. Yeah. I think that, we've had this business for a year now, like this particular business. And I'd say, there's a lot of learnings that happen in the first few years before it really stabilizes out. And, we're constantly changing things and adapting things, and the economy hasn't helped, obviously things you do have to change and adapt. Our marketing tactics and our sales tactics and, all those things like strategies, they do need to change as the economy changes. When things are good, it's really easy to make money. When things are not good, everyone's fighting for the same dollar. And so we are having to change and adapt quite a lot of stuff at the moment, like everybody else is. And we're working really hard on it. And we're also doing new things. We're, putting out fires, like every business, guys, every business has this go on, right? And yeah, so probably just wouldn't have had so much happening in the business. But at the same time, that's just how it is. And you never know when that's going to happen because shit changes all the time. And like, you have to be cool with being adaptable and flexible. And that's just how it goes, regardless of where you are or, I'm on holiday and this shouldn't be happening. There's no point being a victim about it. Like at the end of the day, this is business. This is what we choose. It's not always rainbows and butterflies. And a lot of the time it is, especially in our world. But there are times where, shit hits the fan and, it's messy and you have to figure it out and you problem solve your way out of it. And that's just part of business.
Steph, top 3 tips for anyone wanting to do a caravan trip, taking Starlink and working while they're on a caravan. Like, what would you give them? 1, 2, 3?
The first thing I would say is like, have the gear. Have the gear that is going to do the job. Like, we read a lot of forums before we went on, especially with taking dogs on the Gibb River. Like, it's a lot of national park areas, so there's a lot of places you can't take dogs. A lot of crocodiles also, so you probably wouldn't take dogs. And so, one thing that when we were reading all these articles, it was like, oh, you have to find a dog sitter and it's really hard. And, had all these issues and all these problems. And I thought, oh God, we're going to encounter so many issues because we have these dogs. But what we didn't factor into is a lot of people who are writing these blogs are using rooftop tents. You can't leave a dog in a rooftop tent all day. So that makes sense that they had to find dog sitters. But we had a caravan with air conditioning, so we could leave our dogs in there just fine. And so I think just have the gear that that you need, to make the trip pleasant and pleasurable for you, and do heaps of research. But yeah, I think a lot of the people who kind of gave us advice prior to going
weren't in our
just
position.
Didn't have the stuff that we had to make it, like we had thought about those things previously, so it wasn't so much of a big deal for us. Obviously invest in Starlink if you're going on any kind of trip. It is so phenomenal. And then last but not least, I would say probably be adaptable. I think that it's not going to be smooth sailing, and there are going to be times where emotion, especially like Tim and I, we spent 6 weeks in a caravan, which is like 3 meters long, together every minute of every day, no alone time at all, with 2 dogs who also got no alone time and were also very frustrated with that. And I imagine if you did it with kids, you'd have the same thing. And I think you just have to learn to be like really chill and really patient and really like be present and just find like this is so good and we're so lucky to be here. And if you keep seeing it with that attitude, like it, you know, it just is the best thing ever. What about you?
Yeah, my only other one to add is just don't read and don't believe everything you see on the internet. When we were talking about this trip for the last 6 months, I couldn't even tell you how many people said don't do it.
Everyone.
Like, everyone was like, you're going to crash, you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to kill your dogs, you're not going to be able to do it. And like, I'm saying this from the point of view of someone that has no experience full driving, caravanning or anything.
People were like, we're nervous for you guys.
Yeah, people were literally scared for us. And it was fine. Like literally, you know, some cosmetic damage to my car. That's cool. But honestly, there's so much like fear mongering on the internet about anything, about everything. And if you constantly live your life just scared of what might happen without actually living it, you're probably going to have a pretty fucking shit life.
Yeah, you're going to miss out on a lot.
You're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. So take the trip, do the journey, do whatever it is, even if like people have warned you otherwise. Like I'm like some serious shit, like, you know, going to Mexico and doing crazy stuff. Maybe not that level, but like stuff like the Australian outback, you're gonna be okay. Like nothing's gonna go wrong. Like safe places in the world for sure where humans can't fuck with you.
But there's always going to be Karens on the internet that don't want to see you live your best life, that don't want you to succeed, that don't want you to change, that don't want you to have experiences they can't have. And you know, just don't listen to everybody, because like life is made for living, and you wouldn't be called to it. No, this is like a little poem, a little saying, but you wouldn't be called to it if you weren't meant to do it. Like it wouldn't be something that you're yearning to do unless you were meant to do it. So, you know, find a way, like ignore the naysayers, go live your best life, go show everyone it's possible, because there are a lot of people watching, like we've spoken to, that have, you know, gone and bought caravans and, you know, gone
at least two
like,
that I know
that are like starting to do these trips, you know, because we inspired them to do it. And that's because Ash and Brad inspired us to do it. And, you know, we're single-handedly, you know, giving people this experience, and Ash and Brad gave it to us, and it's just so special, you know. And so I think if there's something that you want to do, that you desire to do, that has been on your mind, like, you know, we are so insignificant. We have such a short time on this earth, like 80 years in the billions and billions of cosmic years that are available across the universe. Just 80 is the average age. And I just think like, gosh, like, why wouldn't you do it? You know, like, who cares if your car gets like a bit of damage? Like, who cares? You know, like, just go enjoy it and live it.
Lastly, I must say, like, how the hell does this relate to business? I know what you guys are thinking right now. And it relates to business because people want to do business with people that do cool shit or experience and live their life. Okay. From this trip alone, we've had followers, we've had connections, we've had conversations, we've had people that are like, have a newfound respect for us, insert XYZ, which will and does help our business grow. If you're someone that just lives behind a computer, punching away on the keyboard, not doing anything with your life, it's not very inspiring.
Yeah, it's not expiring.
Inspiring.
I think, you know, yeah, like that for sure. And just also, you know, guys, you didn't get into business just to bloody work all day and all time. Like, you're supposed to take trip. You're supposed to have holidays. Isn't freedom what we got into this for? Isn't the freedom of being able to choose where we work, when we work, how we work? Isn't that the reason that we got into it? And if you aren't careful, you're just going to work yourself into the grave like you would have done in a day job, but probably for less money. And it's just not worth it. So you have to choose this kind of life. You know, you have to, like, you know, take the trip, do the holiday, like take the break. And the coolest thing is that, and you might see it, we see it as cool, you might see it as a chore. It's up to you. And this is a matter of perspective. The coolest thing for us is that we can work from anywhere in the friggin' world. And that's fucking cool. We love that.
Because we chose to.
We chose to. Now for you, you might be like, oh, I, you know, want to take a holiday and not have to work. Cool. Set up that business too. That's totally fine. 100%. Amazing. We get it. We love working from anywhere. We love working because we're passionate about what we do. But we've set it up in a way that we can work like this sustainably, probably forever. So, you know, guys, the whole purpose behind this podcast is, you know, do it, like build a business that allows you to have the freedom to do these things. And if you're wanting to do a trip, if you're like, whether it's around Australia or wherever, just know that you can, because we have, and these are learnings that we've had. And I hope that it inspires you guys to go out and live your life, because we only get this one.
On that note, guys, share the show.
Please.
And just leave us a review, guys. And if you got something out of it, send us a message. We do love the messages on Instagram or Facebook if you're on there. Thanks, guys.